Let's get ready to throw down!
Welcome to the show, everybody. Sales Throwdown. We are back. We have another question from the field, and this comes from Michael Fritz. And Fritz is kind of a friend. He invited me to interview on his show where he talks to entrepreneurs, and him and his team do custom development, websites, apps, and pretty much all the development stuff that I didn't want to do anymore. And now that's where he is. And he has a question talking essentially about follow-up. The exact question is, the situation he finds himself in a lot is he'll have a great conversation with someone. They're qualified. They have a problem that we can solve and everything's going great. And then we send over the proposal and they just kind of go dark. He says that it seems like 80% of the time he has to jiggle the handle and see what they're thinking. They most often don't reply unless one of us follows up with them. Is there something I'm doing wrong or not enough? You've been in sales longer than me. So is this some kind of pattern indicating a change? Man, this is my jam right here. This is this is everything right here. This is okay.
I mean, this is a preaching moment, right? Because this is what everybody has a struggle with, and I mean everybody. And if you've been in sales for 10 minutes or 10 years or 40 years, you still are going to struggle with this no matter how you are, right? Because it's so hard to foresee the future a little bit. I mean, it is for me, right? I always try to be a couple moves ahead, but to see that far down the road of having this great bonding and rapport, and you get all this great action up front, and everybody's enthused about buying and you're enthused about selling. And so you do all this work and then you hand it off and you say, here you go. Let me know when you're ready. And silence, right? And we all deal with it. Who doesn't deal with this in sales? And the funny thing is that if you could revert, when you go back on your conversations that you had, you've never had any agreements of what you're going to do.
I was waiting for it. I was like,
and it's
we
just
got
like
an answer for you.
Yeah, it's like where along the line did you ever say, if I do this work for you, if I do this research for you, if I have all these meetings with you, what's the deal that we're going to make here? And it's lost. And I knew you guys all, everybody on this show was chomping at the bit, and I had to get him at first because I knew it.
I'm like, damn it, he beat me to it, man. Yeah, I had it all designed in my brain too, right?
But it's the same answer, and it's like those upfront agreements and what you discuss with
what's
your customer.
What's our next step, right? Exactly. Yeah. When we do this, where are we going with it, right?
And you get built up, right? It's an emotional high that you get on as a salesperson. You get this emotional high of, I'm solving your problem. Why wouldn't you go with me? I'm giving you everything you want. You told me your budget. I'm within your budget. What the hell's going on? And you never know.
You're living in your own head whenever you know that, right? All that verbiage is you, not your customer.
That's right,
guys,
man.
Clue
I'm
in.
pumped. This is awesome.
Don't drink your own Kool-Aid.
And you get so.
Go ahead, Ben.
Go ahead, man. No, go ahead, man.
All right. So just in the last 2 weeks, I got 4 bids for a project that I personally want. Okay. So I'm not selling. So I get these 4 bids, and just yesterday I thought, I need to get back with the guys that I didn't use and just tell them, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Mm-hmm. And my brain was like, well, that's what I'm going to do. But all they did was throw me a bid. That's all they did. Yep. They were like, gosh, I really hope you use me. They didn't say, when are you going to get back with me? They didn't say anything. And that is so huge.
Did the guy you chose to work with, did he do things well? Like was he a good salesperson, or was there something else that earned him the business?
Well, and that was my next point. So when I sell, consistency, I'm in front of them. These other 3 guys, they pretty much just went silent. And the person that got the deal, he didn't go silent. Now he was a little obnoxious to a point, because which I don't mean that to sound rude, but he in my face a little much.
But you bought it.
I was going to say, but we're doing business because the guy is hungry, right? And Nan worked a great deal with the guy. That's a win-win. And so, no, when we say that, it's okay to be hungry, guys. I mean, it's hard out there. I mean, and if you say, hey, I don't want to bother you, but, are we doing this? I mean, so sometimes desperation makes you a damn good salesperson.
But you know what?
Think about the ad.
Something Clint said in a previous recording was humble. So don't be obnoxious. Again, I hate to use the word, but just say, man, I would love to have this job. There are things verbiage is hugely important. Timing, verbiage, and consistency. If you go silent and you don't, I think Clint has told a story about a job that he's been really patient on, but he hasn't gone silent. He is, I don't know, Clint, if you want to verify
keep going.
that's true, but I don't think he goes silent. I think it's really important to be consistent and be in front of your client.
What's 30 seconds of a phone call cost you?
Exactly.
I can tell you what it'll cost you if you don't make it.
Exactly.
Well, and this brings to mind the two things. If you set it ahead of time, like, John, I gave you the proposal. What should our next step be? What do you see? How do we follow through on this? And if you forget to do that, then chase like hell, right? Which is what this other guy did, right? So the other three didn't chase, but they were all in the same boat to begin with. So if you screw it up, then unscrew it by staying persistent, right? Either we have an appointment or I got to chase you to get the answer, one or two. But either way, you can succeed is where I'm going with this, right? Don't write it off because you didn't have a next step by sitting back thinking everybody's just going to call you, right? Or learn that if you'll say a few things up front, like, what should we do next once I give you this bid? And then hold their feet to the fire is a little bit different. But even if you forget to do that, you just got to put your track shoes on, baby, because you're going to have to run to catch that deal.
Yep. And it's funny because I got two things to throw, and I hope I remember the second after I talk about the first. so you hold on.
Can I get a high five on that one? I agree.
Yeah.
It's hard.
So, my first thing would be this, and my analogy to like somebody that always tells me they don't believe in religion or like a higher power or a God is like, yeah, but what's the consequence if you don't, right? Because like if you don't believe and you die, and it's real, you go to fire and brimstone and hell, right? But if you believe and you follow, you go to heaven. There's a much better upside to it. And I know Doc's shaking his head, but the point of that is like, if you don't make the phone call, right, in sales,
okay,
there's an empty vessel awaiting you. There's nothing there, right? You're hoping and wishing on dreams. But if you make the phone call, you're only one step closer to success than you weren't before. Or
an answer to a no, which you want anyway, so you don't waste your damn time. Yeah, it's a win-win. You guys, everybody out there has to understand no is a good answer, right? Yeah, it's not what they want. It's nothing you can do for them. Now, you can challenge the no and get them to tell you hell no, and then it's a little more solidified.
Yep,
but
absolutely.
But guys, just put resolution, planning and resolution. You had something?
Oh, yeah. Clint, two.
So
yeah,
number
Clint
two, I will ask you this, and not just to the people on this panel, but to everybody out there listening. Does anybody ever ask their customers, what do I need to do for you to win this freaking job? I ask it all the time.
I hate that question.
But I'm not saying verbatim like that, but in a
well, how do you say it?
Hold on. Yeah, exactly.
How do you say it? Then how do you say it?
Pretend I'm your prospect. And
so John, sure, okay, put me on the spot. Fine.
Hey man, you're the one who says you don't say it the way you said you say it. So
agreed. So to the point, like John, like I know you're going out to bid, you're competitively bidding this project. Like what can we do to separate ourselves? What do you expect to see in the conversations, in the pricing? What exactly do you want?
Okay, so hold on. That's a radically different question than
Not really.
What do I got to do to get you in this car today?
No.
Which is kind of how he said it.
I see it.
Question.
I see it the same. I think Clint's.
No.
I think it is the same question.
No,
I do.
You're explaining to me what I need to do to separate myself from everybody else.
Okay, but hold on.
That's the same question.
The emphasis is different. What do I got to do to get you in this car today? Right? It's making it about me.
That's why I say,
verbatim.
No.
Make it about them.
No. You took a different sales. He's competing against other people. You're trying to figure out my product brand versus another.
Right?
So I see him as exactly. I think those are different analogies. You got a valid point, but I like Clint's approach. How do I set my? So you're almost like asking for advice, which people
that's exactly
love
what I'm doing.
to give you advice, right?
And that's what we should do, right? We should ask questions and listen. So
they're the ones buying.
Because if you elevate the status of your customer, what do you think that does to the whole entire equation?
Sure. So let me ask you guys this: if to that point, and this this guy asking the question, when you propose your project, do you send one line item in an email that says cost is $50,000? Probably not, right? But you probably put a little meat with the $50,000 because you expect the customer is going to want to see why it costs $50,000. Maybe not. But the point of it is what if they want to know every detail? What if they don't want to know one detail? What if they're like me and we expect that we've already had these previous conversations of why, what we're going to do together or what the product is. And I just want to know what it costs. And you text me on my phone with a smiley face emoji and say $50,000. And I say, boom, I'll write you a PO, right? But you have no idea unless you ask what the expectation is.
Exactly.
And so that alone may save you or separate you from everybody else you're dealing with.
And if you get somebody that looks like they're deer in the headlights to you whenever you ask that question, you've got the great segue of what's been my experience, right?
Yes.
Use
here's
a third-party story.
Yep.
You may be asking exactly why I'm asking. I would just want to make sure that I'm approaching this project the way you like to see things done.
Yeah.
So what does that mean to you?
In my business, it might be, well, some people just send me a bid for $6.5 million and they say they have all the HVAC needs and plumbing needs covered. Well, do they really? Do they not really? Right. But I'm competing against people that do that. And in reality, what I'm trying to get to is I want you to scope me out, my scope letter versus somebody else. So they say they have everything for 6.5. I'm at 7.2, but do they really have everything covered? Let me go into detail of why I'm at 7.2 versus their 6. But John, that's the world I live in.
No, I
that's
get
what
it.
we have to
right.
do.
And so part of this is that I got to scale this back, right? Because like I'm hearing some of the things that you're talking about, and part of it is just the difference in our personalities, which is totally fine. But the other big thing is that our markets are drastically different, right?
Very.
And Al's at $8, right? He's trying to
Al's
figure out, okay, are we doing a $10 deal or are we doing an $8 deal?
So
damn it, you and the big numbers, Clint. Jeez,
I mean,
love it.
Because like in my world, it's not hyper competitive, right? There's not a whole lot of people who do what I do. There's not a whole lot of options. So the people.
Good for you.
Oh, absolutely, right. I'm incredibly lucky, and I admit that.
Braggadocious.
Hey man, you choose the playgrounds you want to play in.
$7 million.
That's
I got $8, baby. I got $8.
Right.
That's all I got.
You chose your industry, sir. I chose mine.
I think I told you that.
Yeah. Well, because here's the deal. I would not be happy or successful trying to sell in the way that Clint sells to be successful. It would burn me out. I would hate it. Honestly, working for Al and all the social aspects of that and the constant availability and everything else like this, it isn't for me. Like I don't want to function that way. I want to do my job and then I want to go.
That's a great point, though. That's a great point because there's a million ways to sell.
I feel the same way, John.
Oh, come on, man. So, yeah, exactly.
Al, that knife in my bag. Can somebody pull it out, right?
So like in my world, right, nobody asks me like, hey, John, can I see a line item breakdown? Because it's just, no. Like, this is a project based upon the gaps you said were important. This is how much I can do it for to do a good job. We can either do this thing or we got to call it over right now.
But here's the deal. Yours is consultants. It's intellectual property that you own because of all the reps you have.
Absolutely.
So I completely get where you're coming from.
For sure.
I completely get with the fact that Clint puts a Lego set together for it. Right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, John, if you truly wanted to scope me out, I could write you a 3,000-page proposal of everything that's included.
No,
that's
because you probably have had to do it before, right? On a $7.2 million bid, you don't think there's like a million little washers that go into that project?
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
you could break it down by almost the cost of materials.
I've been on projects, guys, where there's been 15,000 different types of nuts, bolts, and washers that I've had to do some metals on.
You can almost weigh the project, right? And say, do you know the cost of steel?
Yep.
Right?
Let me tell you, the guy that gruels that out in the end wins.
So here's my thing, right? If I was having to play in that world, I would want to be and feel pressure to be so precise, I would never get anything done. Because
that's why you would fail.
I know, right? Because there's so much data, there's so much information, and I got to get out all these line items, and is this the right order, and is this enough data? I would never get anything done, right? You know what the motto is in our business, John, just to that point, is the people that count it all don't get the win. No,
the people that miss the most get it. Yeah. That's the competitive world that I deal in. The people that literally miss entire systems get the job.
So
that's just the world I live in, right?
I'm gonna add my own 2 cents to this for Fritz. The first thing, in my opinion, is you should never be just emailing somebody the proposal, right? They're gonna have questions. They're gonna have concerns. They have forgotten stuff from the time you talked with them in the past. And then you heard Nan a second ago. Nan is a salesperson, and she forgot to let the other people know that she wasn't going with them. Your clients have the best intentions possible the majority of the time. Right now, as salespeople, we often get pissed off because we get jaded about, how crappy, our prospects are, and that gives us an excuse to not follow up. And then we kind of self-fulfill our own prophecy of not closing enough deals. But the first thing I do with everybody is I make them go through their process with me, and I ask them, okay, who's responsible for this? Who owns this step, right? Because if you're just sending a proposal, you are sending that thing essentially into oblivion and hoping it finds its way through the oceans in eternity and into the inbox.
A note in a bottle in the ocean would work out better for you.
Right?
Because what happens when you get sent to spam, right?
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. And now this guy's a marketer, so I'm not really concerned that he's getting spammed. But the thing is you're giving up control for a moment, right? And this is the thing, right? You are good at sales when you control the next step, right? And when that next step is agreed upon and it's mutually agreed on, it's even easier.
Right? And guys, that's a harsh word, control. All you got to do is ask.
All you have to do is
client.
Right?
It's not a hard. You don't have to wrestle some big guy to the ground, right?
Right.
It isn't like that kind of project. It is controlled by asking the right questions so that you know what is in the other person's mind, your prospect's mind or your client's mind, as to what they think is going to happen next.
Yeah. Hey, Al, I appreciate talking with you today. I'm curious, what do you think a good next step is? And then,
I thought I was in trouble for a second.
No. No, let's just role play it. Why not? Right?
But here's the deal. You got the hook when you said that to me. I literally was like, I did something bad on air or whatever, right?
No, you're fine.
No, I'm saying that's how powerful that is.
What is? I didn't do anything yet.
Just the question said, hey, Al, you bought it directly. You hit me with it. And I'm thinking, did I drop an F-bomb or something? I mean, you immediately got my attention by that directness and the promptness of, hey, and then you broke into the question and
So let's pretend that Al is one of these prospects and he's going to say, John, could you just send me a proposal? I'll take a look at it and let you know. Right. So Al, go ahead and say that.
Hey, John, why don't you go ahead and just work that up and shoot it over to me?
Al, what we have found, I can definitely send that over to you, but what we have found is that usually in the first couple of steps, there's some questions and people tend to forget all the details of things. would it make more sense if we could hop on a call? We could run through it together and figure out if this is a fit for you or not.
Sure, if that's the way you want to do it.
Yeah, it takes me about 2 days to get this like figured out with my team and everything. If today is Thursday, do you think Monday works, or is Tuesday better for you?
Monday's a holiday, but Tuesday should be okay.
Awesome. So is 2 o'clock okay? And then we go through it from there. And Clint is laughing at me, right? Because he hates this, but the only reason he hates it is because he knows exactly what I'm doing. But I'm telling you what, I do this to everybody I talk to. I don't do proposals.
Because here's what's going on my end. I got 15 things on my damn agenda today, right? Mm-hmm. I got, all this going on. So when you say that, I'm thinking I got a notepad, I got a pen here. All right, 2 o'clock. All right, 2 p.m. All right, yeah, let me check my calendar. If I say that to you, what do you say back? Oh, let me check my calendar and make sure. Then you say,
you got it right there.
Exactly. Or when should I, you're going to call me?
No way. You got to tell me that, because this is where you get good, right? Because you could very easily default to, okay, not sure about this week. Okay, like what about next week? Right?
Because that could be real, or I could be diverting you just to not make a hard stop, right?
Absolutely.
Hunt the hard stop. Put it down. You're a professional. They're a professional. Just don't take that shit, guys. Don't do it.
Okay, so let's do this, right? So let's pretend it's Clint, and Clint's going to play tough ball with me.
Hold on. Let me interject here, because you made a comment. I'm laughing at the situation. I'm laughing at the situation because this absolutely works for me, 100%.
Good.
Even though I know everything that you're doing, I know the sales game that you're working on. But guys, if you do your process correctly, as John just did, even if it sounds coached and even if it sounds scripted,
it'll
you're
work.
Still hitting the bullet points, and it will work, because
it's still a better conversation, right?
Yeah, 100%.
It's better than nothing, because what do you have then? You have an open palm, right?
Hold on.
Slap yourself with it.
This is super important, right? Because I probably spent the first 3 years of like really working on this stuff, making this mistake and being like, so let's say, Tuesday doesn't really work either, right? And then I'd be like, oh, okay, well, let's just like follow it up by phone. And the thing that I've had to like drill into myself is like, when you love something, you're supposed to let it go or whatever. This thing's never coming back, right? And when you operate with that in mind and you do the Jocko thing of like default aggressive, we are getting a next step, or this no longer deserves to be in my CRM or my pipeline. I will mark this as lost and move on.
But hear me out on this. Let me show you
guys something. I live. Let me get this up here. I live by these books, right? And I won't show you all what you can pause it and find them out. But the point of it is there's a lot of systems in there. There's a lot of information in there. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of bullshit in there that doesn't work for your industry. But those books give you tools to be better than having nothing. Yeah. And that's that's the whole point, right?
Guys, it's better to say, well, John, you're making it really difficult today on how we hook back up, you can actually challenge the fact that your job's becoming more difficult. Because if you're at a proposal stage, you've had all these conversations ahead of time. Why are you slowing down? You got equal business sector. You guys are rocking. You're just saying, okay, this is getting a little harder than I anticipated.
So let's run that.
Let's
run that.
Do it to me.
Go ahead, Al.
Do it to me because
do it to me? Okay. Hey, Clint. So I'm going to shoot this proposal over that we talked about. When should we follow up on that, or how do you see this us getting back together on this project, on the conversation?
Man, to be honest with you, I need to get this price to my customer. I appreciate you getting that to me, but I'm still waiting on other vendors to get their quotes in to compare you to them. So I don't know.
Completely understand. I mean, it gets a little crazy. I know you got some other people participating in this. You got your calendar. Should we talk about a specific date where I can reach back out?
Man, I don't know, man. I'm so busy right now. Here's the deal, man. I may have 30 or 40 minutes. Right now is the best time because you got me on the phone. Let's get this done.
Okay, I'm good with that. Let's did you get it on your email? Let's pop this up and talk. Wait, if we're doing it that way, guys.
No,
John.
Not okay, so
Hold on, or better yet, if we're a real
And the-
deal,
and
I'd
the-
say I'm hitting send now.
Don't
you
feel
good with-
wrong. And the reason I'm pushing that is because I have these sales calls daily.
I know you do.
And
right?
honestly, I do that, and I'm not lying. I'm not trying to make anybody feel like shit. I'm honestly in between a 5-minute window of a meeting. I'm trying to check emails. I've got this proposal. Like, dude, I don't know yet. I just don't know, and I don't have an answer for you. But there is a way to keep me hooked in, and you can break me down. And it's the fact that, like, hey man, this is really important. I spent a lot of time on this, right? My company, my people put a lot of time in this, and I don't just give these bids out. You guys said you needed this service. I need that. And when you hit me with that, I get it, because I also go through that.
Does that do it though
And-
for you as a D?
Yeah.
You
100%.
because
And you know why? And you know why?
Because
No, I
on
don't.
my
I have
end,
to deal with it.
if I feel like time is of the essence, right, and this guy's legit on his time constraints,
Mhm.
I want to meet him halfway, right? And remember, now is as good a time to do business as next week or on Tuesday. It's even better. If I've got him on the phone, if I got the ability to send him the proposal and go over it right now, is now a good time? Well, hell yeah, it's a good time for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
My whole point to saying what I was saying, when I told Doc, like, hey, I got you on the phone right now. Like, hey, quit fucking around. Don't try to schedule me out for 2 weeks from now. Like, I got you right
I'm
now.
good with that.
You could
I'm
make
like,
this sale right now. And I push that to people. John, I know you're leaning back. I push that to people because a lot of people miss that window, right? Because they're hesitant. They're not decision makers. They don't have the power, or they don't feel prepped enough.
Because
I mean,
Clint's
okay.
a D.
But listen,
John, Clint's a D,
No, I
right?
get-
If
I know.
Nan needs to be coddled a little bit more and she needs some more time. So there's where the disc assessment. Who are you talking to?
Absolutely.
If John needs to crunch some numbers, then I'm saying, look, my accountant or my estimator is, I've got him in the office. You want to do it now, or you want to, you do the,
Yep. Because I'm going to push you to see how far you're going to go in commitment wise, right? Because if the first thing out of your mouth is, I don't know, that's okay, right? I'm not going to eat your lunch for that. But how far are you willing to go? Because I know the person that probably estimated that project is 2 doors down. Are you willing to go drag him out of what he's doing right now? Drag him down here and commit to getting this stuff. That's me as a buyer, guys. And you're going to run into that, right? I'm not saying everybody out there is like that. I'm just saying that's me as a buyer. I'm pushing you to see what kind of commitment, because what we commit to right now is how the job's going to go in the future. I believe that, right?
So, okay. All right. Hold on. I have questions. I have lots of questions here. So
Good.
the very first thing is that I'm proactively avoiding, I think, a lot of these steps, because I am very, very clear in my expectations about like what's going to happen on a call. Right. So like Clint, if we're talking still at the end of this thing, it makes sense to keep talking, then I'll go talk to my team. We'll look at the calendar, and then we can have another conversation with the proposal, work through it, and see if it's a good fit for you. Does that sound fair? Yes.
But I thought we were at the proposal side.
No, I know.
Okay,
Absolutely.
So let's fast forward to the proposal.
But hold on, the fix for this is right here, Clint. When we go over the proposal, if it lines up for the budget and the things that are important to you, are you going to be able to let me know if this is a fit and something we should keep talking about?
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I like you. I like the.
I mean, how could
and
I
would
say
this.
anything but maybe?
Well,
Yeah, maybe's
okay.
not, but maybe's not the answer John's looking for.
It's
I
not the
agree,
answer I'm
but
looking
he
for.
set it up for a maybe. He's pressing me for, could I make
Okay,
a decision?
that's totally
and
fine.
I'm like, you're rushing me to make a decision at
No,
this
I'm
point?
not. I'm not.
Well, it
I'm not.
feels
Hold
that
on.
way to me.
But wait a minute, though, right? Here's the glory of what I'm doing.
Sorry, that doesn't work for you, John.
No, it
Let
works
me-
for
let
me
me-
just
let me-
fine. Because
Can I answer the question?
yeah, sure.
Because I would tell you, look, to be honest with you, it's not fair to the other people that are also putting work into this, that I'm not going to compare you guys price and scope, right? And I got to see all three of you lined up next to each other. You guys are competitively bidding this, and I've told you all of this, right?
Mhm.
As a good buyer, you'll tell everybody, hey, look, this isn't your job. It's your job to lose, but it's not your job, right? We're gonna compare it, and I tell everybody that, right? I'm getting 3 or 4 quotes from everybody because that's my process. And if you're any kind of salesperson worth their salt, you know that, right?
Sure.
So,
No, absolutely.
so to pressure me into a buy on the phone
guys,
is a
hold on.
no-go, right?
Hold on. Let's back up, right? I have a process. If I'm asking this question, I already know what your decision-making process is. I know if we have to get other people involved, if there's a board of directors, if there's a spouse, a partner, or something else like this. So I'm only, hold on.
That's the point, right? That's the point, is that you got to get to that.
Absolutely, right? But I'm asking those questions so that way I know that I can ask that question, because in the situation that we were kind of role playing a minute ago, well, I got to talk to some other people first, but if you want to do it right now, we can go over it. So not only now do I have to break my process and kind of do this thing now when I'm probably not as prepared as I want to be, I'm also going to be the first guy in.
But John, if you built the proposal, you are up to speed. You should know everything that you need to know, because the proposal is your finished product, right? So you've done all the cost analysis. You've looked at all the what's plan B, C, D, and E on anything, because problems occur. And if you're not thinking about how a problem should occur, you're a dumbass, right? Nothing goes as planned most of the time. So you should already have that in your wheelhouse, where if the person says, well, let's talk about this now,
but hold
then
on.
hit the button. We have technology. Let's do this.
You're essentially asking me how I fix the hole in my roof when I tell you that there's a tarp over it already, right? I don't have to deal. I'm not calling people to check in about like what their thoughts on the proposal are, because I'm not giving a proposal unless we're on the call together. I'm not sending you I'm not sending you shit via email, because the proposal is not the thing that gets me the business. It's the trust that we have built over this conversation of me understanding and part of this is the world I get to play in that you guys don't get to, right? So I understand it's different in y'all's world. So this is me speaking very specifically to my world.
Sure.
There's not really proposals in what I do whenever it's like, hey, let's go find you a salesperson, right? If it is, it's just like a quick little
we spoke to that. That's intellectual property. So
sure.
Yes, you have a unique dynamic that says, look, nothing comes out of my brain to benefit you till we've signed some kind of equation. Exactly. I do understand that, and I respect that. And I actually voiced it, a little bit earlier. But at a certain point, if you are so rigid with your process, how does that affect your clients who may not understand your rigidity, right? They may not be in the same mindset. I'm an I, you're a C. How does that translate to me when I'm like, all right, whatever sticks up your ass, I can either go with it. Wait a second,
dude, I'm not being a hard ass about it, right?
Because I can go with it, or it can turn me off. I know you well enough.
Absolutely.
Then I'm like, that's just John, right? So I can see where on the second project, because you did a good first project, they're like, that's John, and that's the way that works.
Yeah.
But until you've gotten there, I can see where I would be like, who? I'd be like,
Al?
Hey,
excuse me?
But be careful here, guys, because I'm going to ask Nan a question I know the answer, because it fits both of us and doesn't fit you two. Hey, Nan, do people buy from people or do people buy from products?
100% people. 100%.
That's what I'm talking about, right? I know. Hold on. Listen. This is important to me, right? Because I know a lot of people in the marketing space, agency space, and they put a lot of time and effort into these like really fancy proposals, and then they just send them out via email, right? And even if they have the best of intentions, that email comes in, I'm super excited to work with these people, but I can't deal with this right now. I'll get back to this later. And then all of a sudden a week has passed, and now they're getting your follow-up email because they haven't heard from you. And then all it is just like, oh yeah, not everybody is out to get you. Not everybody is out to collect your information. The other side of that is most people don't have a buying process whatsoever, right? I mean, Clint does because he does it a lot. I do it because I'm very formulaic, and you're going to run into people who have their process.
And I don't have a process.
Right. And in those spots, I don't try to insert my process over their process. I ask enough questions to understand what their process is so I can play in their sandbox if I choose to. But left to my own devices, we're running my game.
The hardest sell that I have to make is to somebody that doesn't have a buying process.
Yeah, no, I get it. And that's a guy like me, right? Who's like, You know, I have money in the bank. I'm not sure how much it is because I got 15 things coming at me, and this is costing me this, and this is costing me that. You know, it fluctuates. I got to work on collections. You know, I got to balance revenue in versus what project.
But hey, there's a reason that most buyers are in two of the spectrums of dispersonality and not the others, because they're fact driven, they're task driven. That's what you're selling to, is facts and tasks. You're usually not selling. I mean, unless you're in commodity sales or something like that. But the point of it is like how you communicate that stuff to people, and you can't get offended if people offend your process versus their buying process. You've missed 6 steps.
Yeah.
And that guys, if you're listening to this and watching this got a little heated because we are different, you know, personality or different spectrums. But nobody's upset here. We just all were vetting it out. Exactly. We're just passionate about. So it's okay, guys. Don't let this rattle your cage out there. If you're selling into these arenas where things sort of get a little bit of, you know, in this spectrum.
Here's the deal for me. Just real quick. I don't want to do all the chasing. It drives me crazy because I feel uncomfortable doing it. Right. So if I have to chase, I have done something wrong in my process, right? Like, I don't know if I've talked about this on the show, but one of the guys, like very early on, I closed, his name was Dan, and we're talking about it. And I said, Dan, if we talk about working together, you know, and we talk about the details and everything else like this, can you let me know if this is a fit for you? And he goes, John, I don't make same day decisions. Okay, great. Right. And this was a Friday. I said, so how long do you normally take to work through a question like this to try to figure out if there's value here for you and something that makes sense for you? And he's like, at least 24 hours. And I was like, awesome, man. Tomorrow is Saturday. I don't typically do follow-up calls on the weekends, but I will if you want to have the conversation. He was like, no, I'm traveling with the family. Let's talk Monday. I said, cool. If I don't hear from you on Monday, do I have permission to kind of check in with you on Tuesday, see where we are? Yeah, that's the step I put in my CRM. I don't give a crap what his follow-up step is. And so then 2 hours later,
but you do, because you just asked him what. Yeah. Okay, so you have some concern, but I love that you just nailed it, man. You just nailed it. I love it.
And here's the really important part. 2 hours later, he messages me and he was like, John, I want to move forward. Okay. Now here's where I make the big bucks, right? Is I don't just like leap onto that thing and sink my claws in and I'm like trying to close this deal. Dan, I'm a little confused. We had an agreement that we were going to check in on Monday or Tuesday. Can I ask what has changed? And then he proceeds to tell me, he goes, you know what, John, I did think about it and I've already made my decision. I'm ready to move forward. I said, if I send you an invoice now, are we good to go? Yes, we are. Send him the invoice and he paid.
Yeah. And it can happen vice versa and you get the hard no and whoop-de-doo.
Absolutely.
Great.
But here's the deal.
Move on to the next.
Absolutely. Right. I can put that thing in my CRM. I can put that on my tracking and I can call it good because I have done everything I possibly can to own every step of that process.
So guys, not to interrupt, work a system that is you, that just doesn't crack your porcelain cover, right? Don't be wearing the face mask and worry because it falls apart. The point is if it's really you, it won't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I'll take it a step further to say, don't just be you, be consistent, right?
Always,
process-wise.
That's the thing.
Be consistent because you have no data if you're not consistent.
Yeah.
And I always compare sales data tracking to shooting because that's what I know, right? The target, shooting at a target. If you change something every single shot, right? I wear this shirt and I wear that sling and I have this bullet and I shoot and it's off to the right, but then I change everything again. Now it's off to the left. I have no way to correct.
Too many variables.
Yeah. There's too many, right? But if I shoot the same gun, the same bullet in the same position with the same clothing and the same breathing pattern and I miss right, I can adjust. I can make adjustments to that. And sales is no different, guys.
Not at all, right? I'm speaking from experience because I think of all of us, I think I've been in like sales training the longest, right? Just as far as like working with coaches and everything else. And I will say that like until maybe 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, I was spending so much time trying to check the boxes of the coaches I was working with and everything else like this. And it was kind of keeping me from actually doing it to the level that I do it. So that way I've got the control that I need to feel comfortable in that way. Because here's the deal. You don't have to check these boxes with me, right? And a lot of people don't, and that's totally fine. See ya. I don't, it's fine, totally fine, because I'm working my process in a way that puts me up for the most success possible, consistent.
And John,
success.
I'll be honest, I've watched you develop that phrase over the last 18 months.
Which phrase?
You don't have to do business with me. You don't have to check my boxes. See you later. I mean, I've watched you morph into that, and it's why you are who you are.
And to our audience, how golden is it when you're successful with a process you're comfortable with that works for you? But you got a trial and error, and we didn't get here by happenstance. We got our teeth kicked in. We've had a ton of disappointment. And like you said, there are reps, but it's staying true to the person that you are. I think you can go back and look at our other episodes, because we've been on air about a year now, and you can see consistency in our attitudes, our behaviors. I mean, if you want to do a case study about how people stay in their corners and are who they are, I think the three of us have shown that to you guys.
There's
Four of us.
Yeah.
Four. Sorry, my bad.
The one time Al doesn't include himself in the group.
Yeah.
that is true. I probably am the loose wire on this whole equation, right? I'm like, process? I can't even spell it. What are you talking about?
So yeah, that's the really important thing, right? I'm not doing this to be a hard ass, right? If I was doing it to be a hard ass, then I'm just an ass, is really what it is. But I'm doing this because I am radically consistent in my numbers and the numbers that I do, right? I'm radically consistent in my prospecting. I know exactly what I need to do each week to get to my certain number of decision maker conversations. I know exactly, if we're at this stage in my pipeline, I have a pretty good idea about how we're going to fall. And you know what? I will take that consistency and lose some of the things that I would get by being effervescent and bubbly and, we don't got to talk about that stuff. It'll come out later, all that stuff. But no, because then that leaves me uncomfortable and unable to perform in the way that I need to like help everybody else. So it's about being consistent. And I love that Clint and Al are like, look, you can do this any way you want, but like make sure it's you and make sure that it's consistent. I love it. It's fantastic. Yeah. Fritz, own more of the process, right? If you were sending it and like just allowing them to come back to you, of course you're going to have to go follow them, right? And
but Fritz, also, I have a question. If you're getting a 20% response, I mean, that's a pretty decent hit ratio. I mean, if you do it enough and you've got a broad enough territory, yeah, I'm like, you're on the right path. Something's going well. Yeah. You're doing something right here. To get 20. So you talk to 10 people and 2 of them buy from you?
Well, and to that point, right, here's the thing that's really important to know, Kate. He's talking to 10 people and 2 of them are closing without having to do any follow-up at all. Like, dude, you're winning.
That job.
Yeah,
Give me that job.
Now,
that's what I was going to say, right? Yeah. Is because I look at it and I say you missed 80% of the sales.
Oh, well.
It's a whole different outlook. And I mean that because
I love you, buddy. Look, I love you so much. This is the best.
And hear me out, right? Because you truly did. You got 20% of sales without trying your process or working anything different. You just do what everybody else did, and you got 20% of the sales. So in my mind, you missed 80%. Not saying that you're gonna get all 80, but god dang, you could get 50 or 60 if you did something a little bit different. That's why I say you missed 80%.
Yes, good point, Clint. You're exactly spot on. Yeah, Fritz.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Al.
No. I was going to say, you guys knew where I was going with that. Hell, put a little process together, or do set expectations, and this could work.
And
out
the reason I focus on the 80% loss instead of the 20% gain is because if let's say you do win 2 out of 10, right? But I want to win 4. Look at the multiplication and the exponential growth that you have to do to win 4 versus focusing on the 80% that you lost. And you still are selling to 10 people and now you're winning 5 or 4. Now look at the exponential growth and the growth that you need to do. Their numbers are way different. And if anybody should know that, it's John in the C corner, right?
For sure.
Okay, but let's back this up though and understand the 80-20 rule of
right?
Okay, and make sure that if you just fall into that natural pattern, then you can push that needle a little bit. But at a certain point, you may be satisfied with hey, I got a good process. I got to do it more times because I get quality and I'm not chasing crap that I wish I didn't have. Because if you're stretching to get the fruit that's too high or just doesn't make any sense because you got numbers in your head, to me, I'm like, all right, if your natural role is this, yeah, you want to push that needle a little bit, but I'm not so sure that the extra that you're going to get from Clint saying, go get the other 40 or 50, if they're less qualified, now you got a great problem, right? I'm turning business away because it doesn't fit me, and it costs me my profit margins start to diminish. Yeah, you know where I'm going with that.
I think that if Fritz just says, hey, when can we have another call? We can go over the proposal and see if this is a fit for you, as opposed to just sending it out to the email. I bet it doubles his close rate.
But my question is, who just sends a proposal without a phone call before you hit the send button? Huh?
A lot of
so
people,
I'm like, hey, I'm about to send this over to
Everybody.
you. Just wanted a phone. Wow, that doesn't make
people.
it.
Yeah,
How
I mean,
does that not make
it's the
any
standard.
sense?
It's the standard because
I'm
what happens
lost here.
is like a lot of people are making assumptions, right? Oh, they just need to see this in written form and then deal's done. Well, did you check that assumption, or are we just making an assumption?
Agreed. I mean, I would never do that. So if I implied that I would just send something, no, I either have you on the phone and I say, hey, it's ready, about to send it your direction. When should we I'm not hitting button until I hear a verbal, let's follow up, like you said, in 24 hours, whatever their process is.
Let me tell you why. Most people's agreements that they had were exactly what they did. Hey, can you bid me this job? Absolutely, I can bid you this job. When do you need it by? I need it by September 5th. No problem. End of business or noon. I need it by the end of business. Deal. And guess what? You fulfilled the agreement that you both freaking agreed on. You send it by the end of the day. There you go. And it's weak as shit.
That's why you got to clarify the agreement.
I agree, man.
You got to clarify.
Who the hell goes to work and does this?
Well, but hold on, though, man.
Everybody.
Al, hold on. Right? This is a thing. Yeah. It happens, right? Because what happens is people rush because they don't want to qualify. They don't want to qualify. They might be trying to hit a certain number of like proposals sent, because that's a KPI that a lot of people look at and things like this. So it happens for any number of reasons. But the important thing to know is that most people aren't going to back away, right? Because it's an assumptive question, right? When can we hop on another call and go through this stuff?
Well, let me give you guys some notice here. If your KPI is proposal sent, hopefully your base is big enough because you're not making shit other than that, right?
I agree.
Until they fire you and you move on to the next damn place.
I mean,
and I'm telling you,
I gave one to my dog. Does that count?
If you're out there and you've had 10 jobs in the last 10 years, you suck. Sorry, you do. You're horrible. Quit and go do something else. News.
Yeah. Right. I think we beat this horse to death.
Yeah, we're over. Fritz, I hope any 2 minutes of this thing was helpful to you. We got a little heated, just because different personality for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you are listening to this and you have a sales question, just text it to me, 817-345-7449. We'll talk about it on the show, maybe give you a shout out. Thanks to Fritz for asking the question, not being so ego driven that, you can't ask for help. So that's huge. It's not enough of that in sales. Follow us on social media. Everything is at Sales Throwdown. If you have a question, please reach out. If you know someone who is struggling in sales, please share this with them, and we will catch up with everybody real soon. Thanks a lot.
Fritz, you're doing a hell of a job though, man. 20% hit rate is, that's pretty solid just for the way I heard it explained.
You're not doing anything wrong. It's not an indication of like bad trends. There's just some small little shifts to make it better. Awesome. Cheers, everybody.
Love it.